Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine, for a moment, you're a diplomat. You're juggling this inbox, just overflowing with urgent stuff, right? Sensitive reports, requests, all coming in from global partners. Your job demands you respond quickly, and it's all built on, trust and established ways of doing things. Now, picture one email. Looks totally legit. Perfectly crafted, maybe like an official update, lands right in your inbox. But uh-oh, it's not just a message. It's basically a digital Trojan horse. Today, we're really taking a deep dive into this sophisticated cyber espionage campaign. It cleverly used that very trust, the trust inherent in diplomacy, to get inside global organizations, turning routine digital chats into, well, a path for state-sponsored infiltration.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how these incredibly complex campaigns, they don't always rely solely on, super cutting edge tech or zero days. Very often they exploit something much more basic, universal, really, human trust, and just ingrained routines within organizations. This particular operation, the way it meticulously targeted these high stakes places like embassies, international bodies, it's just a stark reminder of that vulnerability. It's always there. It kind of underscores that sometimes the best social engineering, it isn't flashy, it's subtle, it's woven right into how things normally work day to day.
Right. So our mission today is really to pull back the curtain on this specific widespread spear phishing attack. We're going to break down its anatomy, look into who's believed to be behind it with, moderate confidence, as the sources say, and show exactly how they pulled it off with such precision and on such a big scale. And crucially, we'll explore what this all means for that ongoing, kind of unseen geopolitical cyber battlefield. It plays out every day, and it impacts more than just the diplomats involved. We'll show you how these attackers really expertly disguise themselves as legitimate diplomatic mail and why understanding these tactics. Well, it isn't just for the cyber pros. It's crucial for anyone navigating our digital world. So let's jump right into the heart of it then, the targets, the threat itself. We're talking about a sweeping multi-wave spear phishing campaign. Now, for those who might not know, spear phishing isn't your average spam, right? It's super targeted, meticulously researched, aimed at specific people or organizations, makes it incredibly hard to spot. So when you hear about an attack like this caliber, what kind of organizations are we talking about as the main target?
Yeah, exactly. The primary targets here were very specific, strategically chosen. Think embassies, consulates, international organizations, all across the globe.
Yeah.
And this wasn't about, stealing credit card numbers for profit. No. The intent here was pure espionage, driven by those escalating geopolitical tensions, particularly in the Middle East. Our sources, Dream, the Israeli cybersecurity firm, and also Clear Sky Security, they specifically point to European embassies, various African organizations, as being among the heavily targeted. So that indicates a pretty broad strategic sweep, right? Designed to gather intelligence, not just some localized hit. They weren't after quick cash. They wanted sensitive info, long-term access.
And the scale. You mentioned scale. It sounds like we're not just talking a few attempts here and there. What kind of numbers are involved? What does that tell us?
You're absolutely right. The sheer audacity and scope are quite something. The attackers actually managed to hijack over 100 unique email accounts. These belong to officials, pseudo-government entities.
Wow, over 100.
Yeah, over 100. That's a staggering number. And it immediately tells you this isn't some small-time amateur gig. It points to significant resources, time, expertise being invested. This adversary is, well, likely well-funded, highly organized, and really committed to a sustained campaign. Just imagine the ripple effect,
Yeah.
Over 100 compromised accounts in these sensitive, interconnected places. It creates this huge web for intel gathering and potentially further infiltration.
Okay, that leads right to the critical question then, attribution. Who is behind this? You mentioned Dream, the Israeli firm. What did their analysis show?
So Dream did this extensive analysis, and they directly linked the operation to Iranian-aligned operators. Specifically, they associate it with an entity known as Homeland Justice. Now, if you connect this to the bigger picture, past cyber activities, Homeland Justice isn't a new name, not at all. They've popped up in numerous previous reports about state-aligned operations. And the attribution, it wasn't just based on one thing. It came from looking carefully at the tools used, the tactics, the procedures, what we call TTPs, and even unique digital fingerprints that, match their known playbook. They saw specific coding patterns, infrastructure choices, a whole modus operandi that consistently pointed back to this group.
So Homeland Justice. What
Yeah.
does this tell us about them? Are they a known player in this geopolitical cyber game?
Oh, absolutely. Homeland Justice is definitely not an unknown quantity. This entity, it's long been accused of carrying out offensive cyber ops on Tehran's behalf, often aligning with Iran's strategic interests. So this isn't the first time their names come up when discussing state-sponsored cyber stuff. In fact, their involvement here kind of reinforces those earlier moderate confidence assessments about their role.
Right, those assessments from intel agencies and cyber firms. Strong evidence, but maybe not quite 100% undeniable proof.
Exactly. It signifies a consistent pattern of behavior from a well-known, state-aligned actor with pretty clear objectives.
And was there any other independent analysis? Something to corroborate Dream's findings?
Yes, actually. Clear Sky Security also tracked related activity. This surfaced in late August. And they noted, interestingly, a striking resemblance to other Iranian threat campaigns seen throughout 2023. So this consistency in methods, the types of targets, even those subtle social engineering cues, it helps build a stronger case for the attribution. It suggests a cohesive, ongoing strategy by these specific operators. When you get multiple independent teams reaching similar conclusions from different data, it really strengthens the overall confidence.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Let's dig into the how. How did they actually pull this off? This clearly wasn't just some generic spam email hitting everyone.
Absolutely not. No, the methods were meticulously designed, tailored for maximum impact in that specific environment. So the initial contact, phishing emails, but very cleverly laced with specific geopolitical themes, things related to Iran and Israel, mainly. As wasn't random. It was designed to immediately grab the interest, the concern of people working in diplomatic roles. Made the email seem highly relevant, urgent.
Right, for someone in an embassy, an email about regional tensions isn't just noise, it's part of their job.
Exactly. It's core to what they do.
So, a convincing email, relevant themes. What was next? How did they actually breach things?
Well, attached to these emails were malicious Microsoft Word files, disguised, of course, as legitimate documents you'd expect to see circulating in these places. The trap itself was deceptively simple. Users were just urged to enable content within the Word file. For many people, especially in a busy office where macro-enabled documents might be common for forms or reports, this can seem like, an almost automatic click, just to see the document properly.
Yeah, I can see that. Click first, ask questions later sometimes.
But that seemingly tiny click, that triggered embedded VBA macros. These are basically small scripts meant to automate tasks in Word. But here, they were weaponized.
So instead of doing something useful, that click basically unleashed the bad stuff.
Precisely. That click secretly deployed malware onto the person's computer. And once it was active, this payload got straight to work. First, it established persistence.
Persistence, meaning it could stick around.
Exactly. It set itself up to restart automatically, maintain access, even if the computer is rebooted or the user logged off. Ensures the attackers keep their foothold. Then, it connected out to remote command and control servers. We often call them C2 servers. These are just external computers controlled by the attackers. These servers let them send more instructions to the compromised machine, and it started harvesting system information. So effectively, it opened this quiet backdoor for the attackers, lets them pull out data, maintain long-term access, all while trying to stay hidden.
It's really fascinating because the individual techniques, like you said, macros, C2 servers, they might be familiar to cyber folks, but the source points out they were executed with precision and scale. That really underscores the espionage goal, doesn't it? Not focusing on flashy new exploits, but on the methodical, widespread use of known tactics, just amplified by really careful planning.
Okay, this brings up a really important question, I think. How did they make these emails so believable? We're talking experienced diplomatic staff, presumably trained on security. How did they fall for it? It says a lot about the human element, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. This is where the social engineering aspect really, really shines. It leverages the very foundation of diplomatic work, trust. See, the attackers didn't just send emails from random addresses, that wouldn't work as well. To massively boost their credibility, bypass that initial suspicion, they actively hijacked 104 unique email accounts belonging to officials and pseudo-government entities.
Ah, so the emails came from inside the house, essentially, or seemed to. Exactly. Receiving an email from a known, albeit compromised, legitimate source, it immediately lowers your guard. You're just predisposed to trust it. And to give you a concrete example from the source material, at least some messages came from a compromised mailbox tied specifically to the Oman Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Paris.
Wow.
That level of authenticity, incredibly difficult to spot when you're working fast under pressure.
And it wasn't just who sent it, right? They also played on routines, the jobs pressure.
Precisely. They amplified their success even further by referencing urgent MFA communications. And here's a key point. We're talking Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MFA, not the multi-factor authentication tech thing that probably jumps to mind for many listeners.
Oh, okay. That's a clever, potentially confusing overlap.
Very clever. It created this powerful sense of urgency and importance. And by leveraging that routine practice, enabling macros in Word docs, which, again, might be totally normal for legitimate workflows in these offices, the operation just successfully blended that sophisticated social engineering with technical tricks. It made it incredibly hard for busy staff to tell a malicious email apart from genuine urgent correspondence. Effectively cloaked the attack's real origin, at least initially. They use everyday diplomatic operations, that culture of rapid response, against the very people relying on them.
It really, really highlights how critical it is for everyone, really, whatever your job.
Right.
Cultivating that healthy skepticism, that little prompt, enable content even if it looks like it's from a trusted source. It could be the gateway. It's not about being paranoid, maybe just taking that one extra second to think before clicking.
And it's also really important to understand, this campaign wasn't some isolated incident, not a one-off operation that just popped up. Clear Sky Security, in their analysis, they explicitly noted the methods used bear a striking resemblance to Iranian threat campaigns in 2023. They specifically mentioned, for instance, the targeting of the Mujahideen Khalq in Albania, said similar tactics were used there in the recent past. So this shows a consistent, maybe evolving, but definitely consistent playbook being used by these operators. We're seeing a pattern here, not some anomaly.
So what we're really seeing then is this recurring use of obfuscation, using those compromised state-linked accounts. And that, according to our sources, points strongly towards continuity among these Iranian-aligned operators. It's not a brand new group. It's a known strategy being refined, redeployed.
Exactly right. The overlapping evidence from both Dream and Clear Sky, it significantly strengthens those earlier moderate confidence assessments, linking this kind of campaign back to Homeland Justice. It reinforces that broader picture of state-aligned cyber activity that is, methodical, persistent, and continually adapting to hit specific geopolitical goals. These groups are playing the long game. They're constantly refining tactics, which, okay, maybe sometimes they seem familiar to us experts, but they are incredibly effective because they expertly target human behavior in our organizational processes, especially in these high-stakes environments.
Okay, this consistent pattern, this sophisticated state-aligned cyber stuff, it raises a critical question beyond just diplomacy. So what does this all mean for us, for you, the listener, even if you're not working in an embassy, not handling diplomatic secrets? Why should this deep dive matter?
Well, this campaign definitely has implications that go way beyond diplomacy. First, it clearly shows that diplomatic channels places where trust is just essential and urgency often demands quick action. They remain prime targets for cyber espionage. No surprise there, really. But the critical takeaway for you, the listener, is broader, I think. State-aligned groups, and frankly many cyber threat actors, they continue to successfully exploit the human element of email. That is a universal vulnerability. Doesn't matter if you're managing personal finances, running a small business, part of a huge corporation, the principle is the same. A well-crafted email looks legitimate. That can be your weakest link, no matter how good your technical defenses are. Experts are cautioning that embassies, ministries, they face this enduring front line in the geopolitical cyber battle. It's a stark reminder this is ongoing, evolving. Not just sporadic incidents, it's kind of a microcosm of the daily digital threats we all potentially face.
And that's really the crux of it, isn't it? It's just the stark reminder that even the most advanced, most expensive security systems, all the firewalls, intrusion detection, they can ultimately be bypassed simply by exploiting human nature, exploiting the systems built on trust that we rely on every single day. That one moment of lapsed vigilance, maybe, that one click, can open the door to really far-reaching consequences. Hashtag outro. So our deep dive today has really unveiled quite a sophisticated operation. It reminds us just how vulnerable even supposedly secure organizations can be, especially when something as fundamental as trust gets weaponized. It's clearly not just about having the latest firewalls or antivirus. It's fundamentally about cultivating vigilance, critical thinking, and maybe a healthy dose of skepticism every single time you open an email, especially one that asks you to, enable content.
And this really raises an important question, I think, for all of us. In this world of just information overload, constant digital communication, pressure for urgent responses, how can individuals, how can organizations foster that critical thinking, maintain robust security without completely stifling the trust and efficiency that actually enables global interaction and effective communication? It's a really delicate balance, an ongoing one that, well, we all have to navigate.
Yeah, it really is. So for you, the listener, maybe consider this. If highly trained diplomatic personnel working in places where security is absolutely paramount, if they can be ensnared by these expertly crafted phishing tactics, what hidden digital dangers might just be lurking in your own inbox, just waiting waiting for that one single, seemingly innocent click. Stay curious, stay informed, and perhaps, yeah, be just a little more skeptical of that next urgent email that lands.